What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Nurturers Pod. We got Jack Moses with us here today. Entrepreneur, doing a little bit of ghostwriting down in South America. How's it going
It's
today, man?
going great, bro. 75 out here. I just hit writing session at an outdoor cafe, so I can't complain. It's been nice. How are you doing? You're in Utah, right?
Yeah, I'm in Utah, dude. It has been crazy. Definitely not 75 here. It's this week. We've had like a record breaking year as far as snow goes, like all the ski resorts and everything, like the lifts, they're getting covered in snow. We have like over 30 or 40 feet of snow in parking lots. I'll have to send you pictures after this. It's been
What?
ridiculous. And next week, we're supposed to be hitting like 70. So everything's going to flood. Like it's going to be nuts. But luckily I'm in a little higher elevation. So everything should pass by and we should be all right. But yeah, dude, it definitely like complete opposite of where you're
Yeah,
at.
I've never been out there before, but like, I definitely want to check it out. So if I do, I'll hit you up for sure.
Oh, for sure. Have you ever skied
Never,
snowboard?
dude. My dad would never let me growing up because I was always playing sports and you're going to get hurt, which is probably true. But I definitely want to try it
Yeah.
someday. My only concern is like, I had ACL surgery like about a year and a half ago. And it's like, I know skiing is not great for your knees potentially. So that's the only thing holding me back.
Yeah.
But fuck it. I should just try.
Why not, bro? That was actually my exact same situations. All throughout high school, all growing up, my dad was like, hell no, you're
Yeah.
not skiing. You're not snowboarding. Had all my buddies always going up, but it was the same thing. Like sports, he did not want me getting hurt. And so it wasn't until 2, 3 years ago that I picked up skiing. And bro, it is a blast. It's so fun just getting out there. And I don't know, it's different. It's like super cool views. You're out in the middle of nowhere and you get to go with a bunch of buddies. And so it's a good time for sure. You'll definitely have to come try it out, man. It'd be fun to get
For
you out
sure.
there.
And you just bought a house out there too. So you're going to be there for a while, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we're gonna be here like next 5 years,
Okay.
probably. Dude, this is actually my first podcast in the new house.
Damn.
I'm excited. It's been a couple weeks since I've recorded one, just with the move, and I had to pack everything up, and wasn't ideal. Probably could have made that happen, but I didn't want to. But we're backing at it, so excited to be chatting with you today, man.
I'm honored, man. I'm honored that I'm the first at the new place.
For sure. Dude, tell me a little bit more about what it's been like down in Buenos Aires. You're in Argentina,
Yeah,
right?
so I've been here for I think 16 or so days right now. So I'm still relatively new to the area, starting to get more acclimated to the city. It's definitely been a bit of an adjustment in terms of the language barrier. So last summer I got decent at Spanish. I was taking like a couple hours of Spanish a day through my school, but I was doing it online. So I was traveling and I was in Spain for a bit and like I was getting pretty good. I even had a dream in Spanish one time and I was like, I'm getting this. Damn. I'm starting to think in Spanish. But then for the next 6 or so months, I didn't practice at all. And so coming down here, it's been a bit of a shock because A, I haven't practiced, so I'm super rusty. And B, they speak like a little bit of a different dialect and they speak really fast.
Yeah.
Imagine like a New York accent in English, like how they talk super fast. It's like that, but Spanish. And so I'm like not understanding anything. So it's a bit uncomfortable, but other than that, it's been great, honestly.
Dude, that's amazing. So I don't know if you know this about me. I don't know why you would, but I actually lived in Sao Paulo, Brazil for a couple of years and I learned Portuguese there. And dude, it's definitely different. There's a language barrier. Like it took me 6 months until I finally felt comfortable to start having like real conversations and started picking up on everything. And then it was like a year until I was like, okay, cool. I got this. So there's definitely a learning curve. I know exactly what you're talking about, and especially with the different dialects where, yeah, if you're in Spain, I know they talk with a little bit more of the lisp, and then heading down there, I'm sure it's completely different. No, that's cool, dude. I think learning a new language, like it's so challenging, but at the same time, so rewarding once you're able to start in those conversations and understand people. And just like being in a different country like that, dude, it's incredible. So props to you for sure. But with that, how's the ghostwriting? How's the business? How's everything else going?
Yeah, so that's a bit of a reason that I haven't been super focused on the learning Spanish aspect because I've been wanting to solve my money problems first, and then I can start focusing on these cooler things to learn.
Yeah.
But for the past couple of months, it's been like just getting it off the ground and like turning this into my full-time thing. It's been a transition period. I was writing about this morning, but like back in February, like there were times where my bank account was like below $100 and I was like, fuck, like freaking out. and basically like doing freelance writing and just hitting up like other ghostwriters, be like, yo, can I like write a thread just so I can pay for food this week and stuff. Luckily, like I never got that low where I had to like really bail myself out or ask for money or anything. But yeah, it's just been a constant learning process. And now like finally, like some steady clients are coming in. And like yesterday, actually, I guess I'll disclose it. I re-signed 2 clients and signed another one all in the same day. So I went from, damn, I'm going to barely have enough money to pay rent here for this month to, okay, I got paid like $7,000 in a day. Yeah. So it's pretty wild stuff.
Holy shit, dude. Let's
Appreciate it.
go. That is awesome, man. Good for you. Oh, congrats. That's super cool. Dude, I know it was last year that we first spoke, I think. And dude, you were at like maybe 1,000 followers, if I'm not mistaken. Like you had just barely hit that peak. I'm like, oh, dope. Let's hop on a call. And that was when I was doing ghostwriting and stuff as well. No, it's been super cool to see how you've been able to transition and progress. Dude, it's incredible. You're at over 10K followers now. And like you have these amazing clients that you're signing. So it's just been fun to watch your journey and see what you've been able to do for sure.
Thanks, bro. Yeah. It's wild. It's wild how much can change like in a couple months of just consistent effort and consistent focused work. It's literally life-changing stuff. Like anybody could do it though. If I could do it, anybody could do it.
No, absolutely. Dude, what kind of got you into ghostwriting in the first place?
I basically accidentally stumbled into it. Like it was not intentional. So I connected with a guy on Twitter named Jason Levin, and he was the first episode of my podcast. And basically he started to teach me a little bit about this ghostwriting thing and like how he dropped out of college and now was getting paid like $15K a month to write for people on Twitter. And I was like, this is insane. And I was just curious about it. And I started to hear more and more. And then Jason put me in a group chat with another ghostwriter, and he's like, hey, Jack is like an up and coming writer. Like he's a young writer. This was like 2 months into Twitter. I still had no idea what I'm doing. And this guy would basically just send me threads and be like, hey, I'll pay you $80 a thread. And at that point I was like, this is insane. I'm getting paid to write Twitter threads. And from there, it's just been like a slippery slope going down this rabbit hole. And then the big decision happened back in around December. So I heard about this coaching cohort that Dakota Robertson was going to launch about I'll scale your ghostwriting agency to 10K a month in 90 days, or I'll work with you until you get it. And at the time he was charging $5,300 for it. And I had $6,000 to my name. So it was one of those decisions. It's, dude, like if you're going to do this, you got to go all in. And I decided to pull the trigger with a couple of friends I'd made on Twitter. And like that investment has definitely paid itself back in like very weird ways. But yeah, like it's pretty wild that I went from somebody who was just writing on Twitter for fun to now it's like I get paid to grow other people's accounts. It's a weird thing.
Bro, it is insane. I stumbled into it as well. Like I didn't even know what it was it was at the end of last year. And no, it's absurd the amount of money that people are making doing this, writing threads and growing other people's accounts. Like it's such a profitable thing to be doing. I feel like, yeah, as you're going through these different courses and learning different techniques and things, if you can apply them, like, dude, it's obviously for you, it's super, super well worth it. So that's awesome, man. But I guess I wanted to dive a little bit more into today, more about like your high school and like your expectations. Cause I know you've been posting a lot of things on Twitter, just talking about different career paths and like how I think you even posted today. You're saying like, what was it, dude? You literally said like the traditional career paths that like your grandparents and parents are thinking of, you got to be doing something different. If you're not, dude, you're doing something wrong. More or less was the tweet. Correct me. I know that was like probably not exactly what you said, but
yeah, I think it was something along the lines of if your parents or grandparents think the career path you're going on is stable, you might want to like double check what you're doing. And the reason I say that, and I'm actually going way deeper on this in a thread tomorrow. Like it's probably the most in-depth thread I've wrote, but basically, like if your parents or grandparents don't understand like the implications of AI, the creator economy, cryptocurrency, like blockchain technology, all these things, like I think you should think twice about taking advice from them. And not to say like they don't have your best interest in mind, because they do. Like our parents want to see us succeed. However, like the world is changing at such a rapid rate, right? And like these things, the creator economy, AI specifically, is what I'm going into in this writing tomorrow. I think it's the future. And maybe I'm biased because I'm in the creator economy. But what it seems to me is every day, like I'm seeing in my email morning group today, like McDonald's is laying off $50,000, 50,000 corporate employees. And you just see it more and more with like Google, Facebook, Meta, Apple. Like they're just doing all these big layoffs, and all these traditional paths that were like safe and secure, they're starting to seem less secure day by day. And what I'm seeing more and more of is individuals creating online and making money by themselves, because you used to need the corporation for the job security now, but now the individuals can communicate directly with their audience. There's nobody that is like in between the two mediums, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Dude, I even saw yesterday, Mr. Beast, he went and taught a course on social media and just the creator economy in general at Harvard. So I think people are starting to realize the potential and how important this like creator economy and social media really is in today's day and age. So I think you hit it right on the head. It's crazy to be seeing all these different layoffs with these huge corporations who literally maybe a year or two ago were untouchable. Like you wouldn't have thought in a million years they're going to be laying off 12,000 people, but they are. And so I think, yeah, just being able to support yourself and be able to know that you yourself are able to generate that income that's enough for you, enough for your family and what you want to do and accomplish in your life is super important. No, I think that's awesome. I'm excited to read the thread, man. I've been loving your content. I feel like ever since you like really put your head down and started posting stuff, dude, it's been money. I really like it. Dude, jumping a little bit further back. I know you played football all throughout high school. You went and played in college, played quarterback, right?
Played quarterback in high school, and then I switched to play slot receiver in
Okay.
college. It's too short to play quarterback.
Oh yeah. Gotcha, man. No, that's cool. I played football as well. It was super weird, dude. So I was gonna go play. It was like a D2 college down in like southern Utah, and then literally I went there. COVID happened. Everything got shut down. I was gonna go walk on, and then ended up moving back home. Met my now wife and started working. And it was weird. The whole transition of how things happened. It was crazy. Like obviously, I don't regret anything, but it was definitely weird going to play college ball to not getting married. I don't know. Crazy. Other story for another day. But no, dude, I wanted to hear a little bit more about like your high school experience. Would you consider yourself in high school? I'm assuming more of a jock. Not really too, I don't know, dude. Like, I know I have a couple questions that I sent over and stuff, but like a jock, a nerd, were you quiet, more of a class clown? Like, how would you describe yourself?
Yeah, I was definitely like the jock. Like, I think it just comes with the nature of who you become in the social status game. And like, you have to take on that persona of being the jock and like the cool kid or whatever, which you're a quarterback. And so my high school experience was mostly focused around sports and then parties pretty much, and just friends and social circles. I, I did enough in school to get
Yeah.
by. And like, I had a natural inclination to be like, okay at school. And I was blessed enough to not like really have to study and still do okay, but I never really took it that seriously. And only in the past year or so, like after stepping away from football now, like I've realized I'm just an absolute nerd. Like I'm such a nerd. It's insane. Like before this
Yeah.
call, I was literally just like reading for 2 hours, and like my high school self, if I would have heard that, I would have been like, dude, you're a loser. But that was more so just concerned about wanting to fit the mold of like quarterback, D1 player.
Yeah, for sure. No, I totally get that. And you did say like that, or the social aspects in sports were definitely like your priority, you would say in high
Oh,
school?
definitely. Yeah. It was like at my school, football ran the school pretty much. Like Friday night football games were like the big thing. Like the whole
Yeah.
town would come out. So I grew up in like somewhat of a smaller town in Illinois, not super small, like 20,000 people, but like the high school football team is what the community comes around, especially in the fall on Friday nights, like a couple thousand people in the stands. And at the time, like that is the pinnacle of your life. All you care about is those Friday night games. I mean, you played how fun that is in the moment, but it's fun to look back at for sure. I think the thing that I see from a lot of people is they never find something new to chase or to pursue after they're done with sports in high school or in college. So I'm fortunate that I have. but that's something that I wish more people would take a chance at new things, because I went from like a high school quarterback, like jock, like douchebag, maybe type of guy, to an ultra nerd writer on the
Yes.
internet. Like I don't, doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. No, in hindsight, I know things are like, it's crazy to look back for sure and be like, what the hell? How did that happen? Like, how did I get here? It's super fun to be able to see your progression as you grow and learn different things and you're able to implement those into your life. Man, so in high school, where did you think that you were going to end up? What did you want to do going out of as your career?
I 100% thought I was going to go to the NFL. And that's so wild in hindsight to say, but something that I've noticed about myself, it's a blessing and a curse in a lot of ways, but I'm an extremely big thinker. If I'm doing something, it's to go to the max in it. Like right now in Twitter, like my goal is to like build all these products, build a website, build a huge following across all social medias, build a huge podcast. Like my goals are huge right now, and they were the same with football. And so another thing about me that is interesting is like, I see other people doing something and I instantly think, oh, if they could do it, why can't I do it? And so for me, it was like, I modeled myself in football after Julian Edelman, like so hard. Like I wanted to be like this guy so bad because he was a college quarterback, like a 5'10" white dude who like took over the NFL. And right when I was getting into college football, like he won a Super Bowl MVP with the Patriots. And I was like, okay, if I just work super hard and grind, like why can't I do this? Now, my college football career did not go as planned at all, but it's okay because it led me to these new things. And now I'm like aiming at big time podcasters, so like big time people on Twitter, big time newsletter writers. And I'm like, if they can do it, why can't I? So it is dangerous, I think, to think like that because you set yourself up for maybe never meeting expectations. But at the same time, like you end up getting further ahead than you ever would have, I think.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's super cool. This is kind of out of the blue, your ACL surgery, did that happen during college?
Yes. So my last game of high school football, I tore my left shoulder. And so that we lost our last game. I tore my shoulder, had to get surgery that winter. Then the next year, so my freshman year of college football, it was like around December, we were practicing for a bowl game and I tore my right shoulder, like completely torn out of socket, had to get surgery again. And then the next year, which was my sophomore year, like 2021. Yeah, 2021. It was like halfway through the regular season. And yeah, I just tore my ACL in practice and had to get surgery. And that was like what, in hindsight, like that's the greatest thing that ever happened to me, that I tore my ACL. But in the moment, like it was tough for sure.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine, dude. I look back at that transition period when I came home for COVID as I like decided it wasn't something I was gonna pursue. And I felt like my whole identity was
Mhm.
and so I want to hear like your perspective on that. As you transitioned out of this jock player, like how has that been for you? Because I felt like for the longest time it was my identity. And so like transitioning definitely was tough.
Yeah, the identity piece is so interesting. And like you attach yourself to that label because that's who people know you as. And you come to define yourself as that football player or whatever you're doing. Like now it could be podcaster or writer. And so I'm trying to stay away from any labels and identities like that because I think they limit your potential. The conclusion I came to about that was, so it was March of 2020. Yeah, 2021. And I was at this crossroads. I had three directions. I could have gone I could have stayed at Northwestern and kept trying to play football, rehab my ACL and just keep basically beating my head against the wall and never play. B was I was going to try to transfer to a D3 school, University of Chicago, and play quarterback. And then C was stay at Northwestern and stop playing football. And I've written about this a little bit, but I think deep down I wanted that, but I was scared of losing that identity. Who the hell would I be without this sport? And yeah, a kind of unconventional way I came to this conclusion that it was okay was I decided to do a solo mushroom trip and it completely dissolved my ego. And so what I mean by that is before that, I like labeled myself as a football player as my identity. It made me feel superior to people. It made me feel like I was important. And that experience helped me zoom out and see things from like a top down perspective and be like, dude, like just because you're good at a sport doesn't mean you're shit. Like you are not better than anybody just because you're a D1 athlete. And I think a lot of college athletes, like across all the levels, and I'm saying this because I talked with myself, like you think you're above like the normal students because you're on a team and you have the social status or whatever. But I realized like that was all really trivial. And after that moment, I was like really content with stepping away from the sport and then dissolving that identity and realizing, okay, like just because I can't be a football player anymore, like I can now do anything I want potentially and just I can go explore the world and start writing online and make podcasts like because I lost my ego, which a little bit, which is counterintuitive, but yeah.
Yes. No, that's super cool, dude. I think whether it's solo mushroom trip or like getting out in nature or whatever does it for you, like being able to take that step back and realize there's more important things in life is so important. And I think it was the same thing for me, just like coming back home, I just took a step back and was able to like look at the big picture of life, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to accomplish, and pursuing those, I don't know if you call it dreams, but pursuing football, which was the expectation that everyone else had set for me, wasn't in my best interest long term.
Yeah.
Cause I felt like, at least for me, I don't know. It's dude, making it to the NFL, that is tough. And like, how realistic is that for
Mhm.
you? And if you don't make it to the NFL, like, sure, it's going to be a really good experience and then you'll learn ton of good stuff. But at what cost are you going to pursue those dreams when you're not able to focus on other things that are going to be able to take you further in life otherwise? No, super interesting, dude. And another thing, coming out of high school, what did others expect? Did everyone else think you're going to be making it to the NFL as well?
That's a good question. I probably don't think so. Just given like the odds, first of all, it's 1% of college athletes make it pro. And like the other 99% are going to end up
Yeah.
working jobs just like the rest of us. And then another thing, I was not like a scholarship D1 player. I was a preferred walk-on. So already there, like the odds were stacked against me. Yeah, I don't, maybe some of my friends maybe thought so. They said that to me. Maybe they're just trying to be nice, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. For sure. No, that makes sense. Cool, man. And I guess looking back in hindsight, I'm assuming they obviously you don't wish you would have done anything any differently. What would you say has been your biggest takeaway from going through this entire experience of being a D1 athlete, going and playing, pursuing those dreams and transitioning? If there was one thing you could tell your high school self, what would it be?
It's a good one. I think just keep continuously putting yourself out there. Like the more you put yourself out there, the more your like luck surface area increases. I like to think of it is like the more things you do, whether it's in a sport or it's like in high school sports, I would go to every single college recruiting camp. Instead of paying attention in class, I would send hundreds of emails a day to college coaches to try to get recruited. And had I not done all those things, I might have not ended up at Northwestern playing football. And the same goes with this online stuff. If I didn't just like press publish one time on a newsletter, I wouldn't have ever started on writing online. If I never pressed publish one time on Twitter, I would have never started to meet amazing friends who probably will be friends for the rest of my life through the app. I wouldn't have made money through Twitter. I wouldn't have learned about online business. If I never would have pressed publish on a podcast, I never would have leveraged a bunch of these connections and made more lifelong friends. And then that was what set me up for this move down here. And so honestly, just like the more you just put yourself out there shamelessly and are willing to look like an idiot at first, like the bigger the reward could be. I'm starting to realize.
I love that, man. And I think, at least for myself, like looking back at high school, I felt like I don't know if I would call it scared exactly, but you had this certain persona that you were supposed to fit in, right? Being a jock, playing football and like being in that certain social group. There's like certain expectations that it's a little bit uncomfortable to put yourself out there like this.
Yeah.
So being able to overcome those and just really own who you are, what you're passionate about and what you want to accomplish, I think is super huge. And no, I love what you said, man. No,
And
absolutely.
I got a question for you. For you in high school, because now you're all into, it sounds like startups and like business and tech and all this stuff. Was that always there? Or were you also like the jock who just cared about football and then you stumbled into this stuff?
Dude, it's actually crazy. So, yes, out of high school, planned on playing football, ended up going to the semester down there because the COVID went home, whatever. But with that, I actually stumbled in. My dad, he's a banker. And he saw this job listing. I needed a job. I was back at home, didn't know what to do. And they were doing these P loans. And so they hired on, it was like 1,000 people for this 3-month contract to be able to go through and process all these different loans. So I started that company and ended up making like a decent amount of money. And then I had a friend approach me about doing summer sales. And so I actually went and sold the security systems door to door for us.
Oh shit.
And at this point, I dropped out of school. I decided, hey, you know what? Like, sales is going to be my thing. This is what I'm going to do. A lot of salespeople, successful salespeople, they don't have a degree. And if I'm able to like really hone in on this and make this my thing, I definitely could go super far. So ended up doing that, came back after that summer. And that's when I had a buddy working at this startup. And I've been there for almost a year and a half now. But yeah, dude, definitely was not on my
Yeah.
radar. Like coming out of high school, I had no idea what the hell I wanted to do. And it's crazy to look back in hindsight and be like, how did I end
Yeah.
up here? What did I like? How has this happened? It's super cool. But yeah, I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Like, I think through every single experience that you have during your life, whether it's good or bad, there's so many good takeaways that you can have just from trying new things. So I think that would be my one piece of advice is like finding what you love and what you're passionate about and going after it. Because I feel like you're never going to know unless you try it. And so don't be afraid to go out there, put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, like you said, to really find what you're passionate about and go after
Right.
it.
Why
So,
not?
yeah, man.
What else are you going to do? What's the alternative to
Exactly.
not trying things? That's my new philosophy. Okay. Like the worst case scenario of trying these new things, and especially in your early 20s, it's like, it's actually not as bad as you probably think. Like you don't have that much to lose yet. I don't
Yeah.
have a wife. I don't have kids. I don't have a house. I don't have a car. This is the best time in my life when I can try to take these risks. And you only get extraordinary results by taking unordinary risks. And so if you just follow the scripts and do what everybody else does and what everybody else tells you should do, you're just going to end up living the same life as them. And that's not a bad thing necessarily, but if you want something new or something different, you have to take different risks. And it's interesting to see, like, we've both kind of gone against the script, and it seems like we're both doing things that are really fulfilling us. Most college kids, even from my school, like top 10 school, they would be dying to work in a startup. And because you went this weird path, like you ended up in one just by serendipity and hard work. So and there's a big lesson in there.
No, it's crazy, dude. It really is. And I feel super fortunate to be where I'm. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. Before you have kids, before you have a wife, before you have a house, definitely go out there, try different things and explore and see what you're super passionate about. And I think that's how you're going to end up living the most fulfilling life possible. Yeah, man. Cool. I appreciate you hopping on. It's been super good to talk to you more in depth about things and definitely keep in touch. I'm excited to see where this journey down in South America takes you, man. And just know that I'm rooting for you. I think it's awesome.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me on. This was good to catch up for sure. And then I'll hit you up if I'm ever back in the US and trying to ski in Utah. I'm sure I will at some point. So I'll hit you up.
Bro,
Yeah, I'll hit you up, dude. I got to try new things like you're saying. I got to try it.
yeah, come try it out, man. Why not?
Bro,
Well, cool, man. Appreciate you hopping on the pond and we'll be in touch.
sweet. Thanks.